part 2. So I was just saying that I had been released from KSV after being fever-free for 36 hours. At that point, they thought that I had gotten bitten by a tick, got Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which I was positive for, and gotten meningitis. So I had woken up from my nap Wednesday at around 3, and I couldn't drink from my straw. My lips would not go around the straw. And I was like, what the hell is this? What's happening? And I had, we have a close friend who had Bell's palsy, so I was familiar with it. So I had kind of thought something about that. And so after just given everything that I've gone through, I called my doctor's office. She was back from vacation, thankfully. She saw me in the hospital the last day I was there. But so she wasn't available at that point, but she called me back from her cell phone. And she asked me what was happening. I told her, and she said, Michelle, you need to go to the ER right now. I'm going to call them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And at this point in time, I was so mad. I was so mad. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't want to go back to the hospital. And she was like, no, there's something else happening. There's something else going on. You need to go right now. And she's been my doctor for years and years. And those who don't know me, I have a very unique history. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. And so I heard it in her voice. And so I was like, okay, Emily. So I called my dad. And my poor dad probably has PTSD from me calling him so much. And I had him take me to the ER. And I get there and I check in and they're like, we have our stat. And I'm like, stat? Like, what? Meanwhile, there's like 15 people in the ER. There's this kid in a leg brace who probably just like broke his leg. And they're pulling me in. And I'm like, what is going on? Why am I a stat? Right? And they are like all rushing around. They're like, we have, and they're trying to get another IV on me, which I'm a bad stick. And so it's not working. They end up pulling the ultrasound in there and trying to get an IV with an ultrasound, which I didn't know was a thing, which now I definitely know is a thing. I'm going to ask for that every single time instead of sticking me all over my body every time. And my boob. Ridiculous. That was part of part 1, if you didn't watch that. And so, I'm in the ER, and they are trying to get a IV on me, and the one nurse is like, we have 8 minutes for stroke code. I'm like, stroke code? What? And like, I'm a smart person, okay? I have my master's, I'm a therapist, like, I understand stuff, right? But at that point in time, I was not thinking stroke. I understand that now. But at that point in time, I was not. And so I'm like, stroke code. And she's like, yeah, all of your signs and symptoms point to stroke. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. So they wheel me off to CT without an IV because of the stroke code, I guess, and me being a stat and them not having enough time. I get in the CT. I get out of the CT. They finally get an IV on me. Doctors come in, doctors go out, doctors come in, doctors go out. They're on the phone, and at this point in time, it's like 8 p.m., okay, on Thursday, and the ER doctor is coming in, assessing me, telling me to do more things, and then going out and talking to my primary, Emily, and a neurologist in Rockford, because KSV doesn't have a neurologist. So he's coming, the ER doctor's coming in, doing more things, going out, coming in, doing more things, going out. Like just trying to decide what to do with me at this point, I guess. So they say, we're going to transfer you up to Javon Bay. And I said, okay, great. I'm annoyed. I know because my daughter, Olivia, had to be transported up to Mercy for NICU, and I understand an ambulance bill. And so I'm annoyed at this point. But I also understand that I need some really good care. After everything that I've gone through, I need some really good care. And so ambulance ride was crazy too. Oh, the ambulance like got stalled, and oh gosh, that was funny. And then the exit was closed that night for Javon Bay, so it took longer. We get to Javon Bay, there's a completely armed officer greeting us there. It's like 11-12 p.m. at night, 1 o'clock a.m. I don't know, I don't remember, I'm tired too. That we get there, and then doctors come in like right away, which I was shocked. But I guess I'm stroke code. I don't know. I'm on the stroke floor too, guys. And so they come in, they assess me. They tell me I can't eat or drink anything because they're worried about my speech and my face being affected and causing a infection. And so I'm like so hungry in the morning. The doctors were done with me by like 2. Speech was going to come in the morning and assess me. Speech finally comes in at like 11 and assesses me and says I can eat and drink, thank God. So, and at this point in time, guys, I was not eating or drinking. Like the whole time I was at KSV, I was barely eating anything. Barely. I've lost like 12 pounds in like 2.5 weeks. Not a great diet plan. Even though I've joked about it, but it's not a great diet plan. Don't do it that way. And so that morning speech, and then neurologist comes in. He has a team of like 5 people with him. He's training these doctors. He's doing a full assessment on me and then explaining to the doctors what he's doing, which I know a lot about strokes now. And Bell's palsy and what the differences are. That's another video, because he was doing all of that. He, I forgot to mention in part 1, the infectious disease doctor at KSV took pictures of my rash. Pretty sure I'm going to be written about. By him and by my infectious disease guy, Leo lookalike. I'll get to him. And so the neurologist is assessing me. He wants a CAT scan with contrast and MRI with contrast. So I have those on Friday. The infectious disease doctor, who looks like Leonardo DiCaprio but like darker hair, he comes in and they're doing more tests. And by this time, I'm on like my patient portal and I see that there's a positive test for West Nile on my portal. And I tell the infectious disease guy this, and he's like, oh, let me see that. So he looks at my portal and says, oh, you're and okay. And so, and then they're doing blood draws and everything there too, testing me for so much stuff. They tested me for HIV. They, asked if we're in a monogamous relationship. Like, it was like lots of stuff, guys, lots of stuff. I'm drooling. And so then the infectious disease guy says, you know, West Nile, I guess, and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, those viruses interact with each other a lot. So it's possible that I didn't have Rocky Mountain. And at this point in time, I've been in the hospital for a while. And so I was starting to think about, like, okay, did I get bit by a tick? Did I get bit by a mosquito? Like, what really was happening? And by Saturday, I had remembered that we were sitting outside the Airbnb in Colorado, and I remember saying to everybody, guys, it's like there's mosquitoes out here. I feel like I'm getting bit. And everybody else was like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And I'm like, guys, like, no, I'm getting, like, there's stuff out here. So I remember that, not that, like, that was specifically the time or the place that this happened, but I don't remember mosquitoes at all any time else before this. And that would kind of be the time frame. That was a Saturday, and I started getting symptoms like that Monday, Tuesday. That would be the time frame for it. But so and Leo, that's not his name. His name is Dr. El-Zuvi, one of the best freaking doctors I have worked with in my entire life. I hugged him when I left. I hope I never have to see him again, but I will be writing a letter to him in his office, for sure. And so he then says this to me, that they interact with each other a lot, and that, he's going to start me on, IVIG infusions. So, I start the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, yeah. So I started the infusions on Friday. So the infusions are blood plasma, but it's all of like the immunoglobulins from the plasma that are collected, that are given to you. And so it's like a 4-hour process every day. The nurses have to come in and check my vitals every 15-20 minutes. It was intense. It was pretty intense. They had to give me Tylenol and Benadryl right before every infusion. Dr. El-Zuvi said that it's never been done before, the IVIG treatment for West Nile, because there is no treatment for West Nile, guys. Just like Tylenol, and everything that I've been reading is just Tylenol, which, like, Tylenol was not doing anything for me at all. Still doesn't. Anyway, and so I start that on Friday. I get the MRI, I get the CAT scan. All of those things come back fine. So I stopped seeing the neurologist at that point because it's Bell's palsy. So then my main doctors are Dr. Vortier, which is a hospitalist, which I find to be amazing. So Javon Bay has hospitalists, and they are overall primary doctors while you're staying there. So they oversee all of your care. So you have specialty doctors like I did, but then Dr. Vortier came in and reassessed and explained everything that was going on from the specialists, and then care and stuff. It was awesome. He was amazing too. So they checked in on me every day. Then Dr. El-Zuvi, my infectious disease doctor, said that I'm exceedingly rare and that Bell's palsy has never come from West Nile. And in all of the literature, he has never seen it. And the meningitis that I had, because I do have meningitis. Came from the West Nile, and that is like a 1 in 150 chance. So here I am with all 3 things. Oh, and 2, I came back negative for Rocky Mountain. I'm still positive for West Nile as well, currently as well. I'll be immune to it, which is great. But it stays in your system for like up to 500 days, which is crazy. But I'm negative for Rocky Mountain. So I never had Rocky Mountain. The doctor was right. It interacts with each other. And I was always positive for West Nile. So, they were pushing the IVI treatment infusions because he was worried about encephalitis, which is, so meningitis is inflammation around your spinal cord and your membrane, and encephalitis is your actual brain being swollen. That's not the word I'm looking for, but inflamed, swollen. And so he was worried about that happening to me, because that can happen with West Nile as well. So he was being very proactive, very amazing. And then the last treatment was Tuesday, and I was feeling good. I still was having some soreness, and obviously my face is still like this. It actually is moving a lot better than it used to. I can't close my eye. This is me like kind of trying to close my eye. I have to tape my eye at night or to take a nap. I can't drive because I can't see. It's like still blurry. So Tuesday they said that was my last infusion, and they had to monitor me overnight because it's a pretty intense infusion. And then I got to go home Wednesday. So today is Saturday, and I got to go home Wednesday. So Dr. Alzuvi said I won't have to have the infusion again. But so follow-up care. I'm gonna have to see the neurologist again because of the Bell's palsy and the inflammation from the meningitis, which will be in a few weeks. I have to do PT on my face to help me with my muscle movements. My eye is going to be the last to correct itself. And then follow up with my primary again. I saw her Thursday. And then the last thing is I have to see rheumatologist, which is autoimmune. So for those who don't know, my mom has mixed connective tissue disease, which is a large umbrella over a lot of autoimmune diseases. So she has primarily MS and lupus. And so in talking with the doctors about that too, the Bell's palsy could be related to an autoimmune kind of issue happening within my body now, especially since this all happened to me. It could have kickstarted stuff. So I have to follow up with a rheumatologist and get blood tests again, because I've had blood tests before for autoimmune because it's on our radar. So I have to do that too. But right now, overall, I am just weak, like so weak, so tired. I get bursts of energy from the prednisone, and then I sweat really bad. And then I take power naps after lunch, and but I'm overall okay. It's been a crazy journey, obviously. Day by day, I'm feeling better day by day. and I know I need to move around, and I've been moving around. And this morning we went to Menards, like a few aisles, got stuff, and then went to Claire's for like 45 minutes, and I was just beat. So tired. So I took a nap, you know. So that's kind of my story. Not kind of, that's my story. Wear bug spray. Listen to your bodies. Listen to your body. If I kept pushing in the beginning, knowing I was not feeling right, thinking I would just get fluids, right? But knowing something bigger was going on. It was scary for a long time. I'm past the dangerous spot. Now it's just rehab and FMLA and working with my boss to, you know, work from home as much as I can and take naps. And shout out to everybody who has messaged and everything. But exceedingly rare over here. And West Nile is no joke. My goodness. I remember when it was the first thing, and yeah, there's upticks happening now too, which Dr. El-Zuvi did say and mention, and if you Google it and press news, you'll have stuff locally come up, so please just protect yourselves. I think I'm done. I'm gonna go to bed. All right. Thanks, everybody. If anybody has any questions, feel free to message me, Facebook, text, whatever. You have my contact information. I'll put it wherever I post this. Thanks. Bye.